Hello YouTube, Jason with Renegade Rants Comics here, and I wanted to kind of do a short video on what it was like for me in the 80s and the 90s to try to find comic books. Now, we didn't have LCSs in my area because I grew up in a small town called Carthage, New York. We had a few local shops, but we had the Sears catalog. Now, the Sears catalog was the biggest thing that we got in the mail, and that allowed us to basically buy what we wanted. For Christmas, I wanted a BMX. This allowed me to be mobile for the first time in my life, so there were candy stores or grocery stores that you could ride to. And a lot of the time when I would go to the different grocery stores, if you wanted to find me or my parents were looking for me, if I'd went with them, I would be searching for either the toy aisle or the magazine aisle, because maybe, just maybe, they may have a comic spinner rack. Now, everyone's seen a spinner rack. Most of the LCSs we go to have them, but this was the golden grail when you were actually in a grocery store. The problem was that if I had bought an issue, say, last month, I may not get the next issue that depended on what they ordered. And a lot of times, it would be 2 or 3 weeks to a month to 2 months before I would end up back at the same store. So you never really had the run filler. Of course, back then, a lot of the stories were just kind of one-shots. At least I noticed that with a lot of the DC I used to get. So what was it like to shop? It was an adventure. We also had newsstands. Sometimes you could find the newsstands and you could go up and they would have different comics, or Woolworths. Woolworths was one of the biggest stores that we would go to, or Kmart, and every once in a while you'd get lucky and you'd be able to actually walk in and you could find over in the area a comic collector pack, and then you could get 4 or 5 issues. The other thing that you could do is in the comics themselves, you could actually see lists or back issues that you would order. The problem with this is, if you notice, you've got to cut the page out to kind of order half of the stuff. That's why some of the books that we look at are damaged. So the other thing you want to look at is sometimes people were actually checking off in the little boxes what they had. Now, how do we check pricing? We had the Overstreet Price Guide. And then in the 90s, if you were cool, you had the Wizard. Sometimes I kind of miss the old days, though, of seeing a spinner rack and getting excited.